should have just went
Be
live.
nice. Are you able to hear me? I'm not getting the video to work apparently.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so it's just the video then. Let me fix the video.
There we go.
There you go. That's the
Hey,
secondary
Eric.
camera. Let me see if I can switch back to the. Oh
We got a whole camera 1, camera 2 action here.
Oh man, I try, man. I have to keep up with the best.
Yeah, have to keep up with the times. So, I myself got in the Zed.Run. I want to say the end of April, early May, right before the terror drop. I think I stumbled upon the New York Times article where it was, or I think I stumbled upon something when you sold billions. And then I stumbled on the New York Times article, and then I watched a video from Al Smizzle where he was explaining Zed.Run, and then I just got addicted from there. Like I'm a video game developer myself, and became addicted to somebody else's game, which is amazing to me.
Yeah, I kind of going around. I got into Zed. I heard about it, just kind of getting involved in the NFT space. Really didn't think anything of it. Kind of blew it off, and then I got more into NFTs, and it just kept appearing over and over and over again. And I love technology. I love horse racing. I used to live next to a track, or close to a track, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a go, and then just kind of became hooked ever since then. What about you, King BeaverShot? How did you get into Zed?
I've been in crypto since I want to say 2016 is when I first got into it. I wish I would have checked into crypto when my wife told me to in about 2011. You know what I mean? But
wife's always right.
Yeah, but I got in 2016. It's still pretty good. And I joined a couple cryptocurrency groups on Facebook over that time frame. And in early 2019, there was a promotion read by damn it, I can't remember his last name. Jeff something, and he's kind of a more well-known person in those groups. He posted a thing on Facebook. Top 10 names, created a poll. You could create a horse name, and if it gets voted in the top 10, you're going to win a free Z10.
Oh wow!
Like, oh, what's this? So I created a horse called Crypto Terriet.
Love
the name. I actually bred a horse and named it Crypto Terriet, but somebody owns it. I don't know where it is. It's a little bit. But so I did it. So I started researching Zed.Run. I was like, this game is pretty cool. And they were selling the pre-sale of Z4s at the time, like the first 500 or whatever. And I bought 20. And then I just got addicted. And I said, you know what, screw it. If I'm going to do this game, might as well have the best. So I went over that year's time. I probably accumulated 45 Z1s.
Wow.
But when I got in, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't even breed. All you had was a horse in your wallet, and you could look at it on the website, and that was it.
Was that?
Huh?
Go ahead.
Nah, and then breeding came out June of that year. I want to say June, July-ish of 2019. And we didn't. There was a little hiccups, but it wasn't they never have to shut breeding down. But it wasn't there's a crap load of us breeding either. And I just kind of accumulated horses, and then racing came out, and I was part of the beta, the offline beta. And then when it first came out, it was pretty interesting, that second algorithm. If you didn't have a Z1 or Z2, it was a struggle bus. If you tried to race a Z10 against a Z1, it was a joke. They crushed them. They've done a lot of good with the algorithms and getting it all tweaked in.
What about you, Eric? How did you get into Zed.Run? And any kind of background too that either of you'd like to supply, go for it.
So I think I got in the same route as most of the guys. We kind of saw the article on New York Times, and then we say, oh, this is cool. I didn't know we could do this. I love horses. I grew up with going to the club and being around the owners' lounge and just watching horse race, talking to the stable owners as well as the trainers. So they kind of teach you stuff about the horses, and they tell you about the temperaments, and so I kind of learned horse racing in real life rather than on game. But I've always wanted to buy a real horse, and of course that's too expensive. So when I saw the New York Times article, it was like, hey, I'm doing this. This is my chance to actually own a horse. To be honest, I'm not as bullish as everyone here in this room on cryptocurrency. I think it's a bit of a bubble, but I am different on Ethereum because I did not see it as a currency. I see it as a utility token versus something that is like a Bitcoin that has got store value. So for me, coming into Zed.Run has a little bit of a risk, but I saw it more as a game and as a virtual world that I'm buying into more than an investment. So I think that's the difference in that mentality as I'm coming. I didn't see that I would make money from the investment. I see that I actually enjoy being part of the ecosystem. So that's me. And then I started looking at the complexity of the game, and I went like, oh man, this is bigger than I thought it is. So I think before I knew it, I got all the theories on how to raise a racehorse, how to breed racehorses. I mean, I got in quite deep. I put in a little bit more money, and then I started growing my stable, and here I am.
It's a slippery slope for sure.
It is. I don't think it's even a slope. It's like a hole you jump in, and then you just keep screaming.
I was definitely pure speculation when I did it. I'm like, this game's gonna be awesome. It's a fun game, but
Yeah.
very speculative for sure.
It's a blast. It's a blast. So I mean, both of you, King BeaverShot and Eric Wong, kind of are, in my opinion, I'll say, kind of idols in the community for very different kind of regards or aspects. King BeaverShot, obviously, your big sale, your stable, and Eric, all of your analysis and articles and kind of data around that. Is there anyone that either of you look up to within the Zed community? Or is there anyone that you've really connected with?
Yeah. Go ahead, bud.
Oh, so for me, I think there are a couple. The couple of just not one person. I think the first couple of videos I watched was actually by Poseidon and as well as Chateau Zad, and so those two actually were quite quite a figure when I first started, and I took in a lot of knowledge and as well as and what they're sharing, and so I thought I like that a lot. So for me, I think those two would be if I were to call an idol, I think it would be Poseidon as well as Chateau.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, for me, I don't know if you've ever looked at Bob the Nailer stable, but that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still has 100 Z1s or not, but he used to. I think he even had like 200. I mean, it was crazy how many Z1s he had. Lucky Jack for me was one of the ones who, I mean, when it got slow one time, like after breeding came out. I mean, in the Discord, the only chat you'd see this guy from Japan, and I don't remember his name. But every day he'd come on there and say, "Good morning from Japan." And you'd go in the Discord and there'd be like 30 of those in a row. And then maybe some people are like, "Hey, good morning from Colorado," or "Good morning from somewhere else." Like it got real slow. But me and Lucky Jack, I probably clicked with him the best. And then I've spoken to Jeff a few times, the Presidente or whatever. But me and Lucky Jack, and we setting up on a Saturday, like, okay, everybody, we're going to race on Saturday. This is who it's going to be. And there's only like 5 of us. We're putting in 3 or 4 horses a piece just to race. So for me, it's probably Lucky Jack.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool experience. Golden, do you have anything?
Do you have any general strategies? Because I remember I've read this after watching it. I read that you watch the races and see where the horses break. And I know you interviewed somebody in your articles, Eric, and somebody else said the same exact thing. So I was wondering how effective do either one of you think that is as a strategy?
From what I understand is that's all aesthetics now.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. Like the times are predetermined, but like how they finish and stuff is kind of that's just more to like actively do the race is what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
But the time is what matters.
Okay. As far as how fast the race finishes, the first finishes.
It's all about time, which I've been terrible at. And I'll admit, looking at the times, I couldn't tell you. I know Green Eyed Larry's pretty fast. That's all I got.
Yeah, so yeah, the person I interviewed was Takeoff Tone, and he's the owner for Steph Curry.
Mhm.
So I kind of like look at his stats and I went, hey, this guy is doing something that we don't. So if we look at his data, he's running a whole bunch of races he's comfortable with, and then at times he does the weird ones. So I then ask him, hey, why do you do that? I mean, and I mean the weird ones like the very short distance he's performing. It's not like he suck at it.
Yeah.
He actually makes money from it. So I said, can you tell me like when you do that? And he said, I look at the horse and look at when he breaks. I like, okay, never mind, take it in, because I mean I kind of heard it's all aesthetics, but that's how he plays the game. So he said, I look at if he breaks early, he kind of feel like he wants to run shorter distance that day. I put him in the short distance race, and I look at it and say, okay, makes sense. So I don't know if the aesthetic has got a correlation to the time, because I haven't really investigated that part, because he could really be running a certain pattern that for that period of time, because remember the algorithm calculates that time, and then the time is derived. The aesthetics is derived from that time. So he could be onto something. He could be onto nothing. But that's how he plays the game. And so when I put the article up, and I have a lot of backlash going like, hey, the aesthetics are just aesthetics. I mean, it's like, okay, like it's how the guy played the game.
Yeah, that happened to me. I made a video one time saying, watch when they break and I give you a hint of their favorite distance. I got a lot of
Yeah.
backlash from that too. I'm like, can you prove it? I'm like, no, but like I have horses that I figured out because of it.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
in real life, that's what you do. I mean, you look at when the horses break, and you look at the horse whether he likes to run in the pack, he likes to run in front of the pack or behind the pack. So
I don't know if there's really anything there or not. It's just something I did and it worked for me. So I'm like, I don't know.
yeah,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I play
yeah.
blindly sometimes. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go for it.
There's one thing that I noticed after breeding, and in fact, it's before, probably around breeding, when breeding happened. So previously, you notice that the horses are generally good across any distance. I mean, if they're good horses, they're good horses. If they're bad horses, their odds don't swing that much across distance. I recently picked up a horse, and I put it in my recent article. I picked up a horse with 40 Griffin odds, and obviously he's got good lineage. I mean, he's got like good blood and everything. And I thought, I would pay 0.1 something for her, and I put in a bid for I think 125, 0.125, which is cheap. And then I got her, and I will look at it. Okay, now what do I do with you? So I said, you got bad odds at this distance. Let me go and do it one more time. Oh well, it came back bad odds. I mean, 40 something. And I says, okay, let's try a different distance. Immediately the odds swang to 10x. And I was like, dude, you went from like 40 to 10. And that's all paid race. I don't do free races. And so okay, I do some free races, but I tend not to, because it just kind of like does nothing. I really want the stats. I don't want the money. No, okay, that's wrong to say as well. But anyway. But then she swung. Then I went like, okay, let's test you. So I put her into like 2 class above, which I think was a class 3 or class 2. And then she ran in the same distance, I think a 20 odds. And that is so drastic from a Griffin of 40 odds. So then I run, across a different distance. I can see the odds variation. So I'm starting to see that. I don't know if they changed the algorithm, and you've heard it here first on MJ's live stream. And I don't know if they changed the algorithm a little bit, but I'm starting to see variation across distance, and it's actually quite apparent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've talked about it on my stream a little bit. We've dubbed it, after talking with you, Eric, the Pickle Rick effect. So we call a horse that if they have, if you don't mind me going to the story, but Eric showed me this horse called Pickle Rick, which had like, I think it was 20 or 30 odds across the board. Then all of a sudden it'd pull like a 4 or 6 odds, like random, almost perceivably randomly. But ever since breeding, I've been noticing more and more horses like that. And so in stream, we call it a pickle rick if someone finds a horse like that, to call it out in that way. We're talking a little bit about approaches. And, at one point we're looking at, King BeaverShot, you're looking at break of a horse, or kind of the visuals. How are both of you kind of approaching Zed now? From a racing standpoint, you could even talk about from a breeding standpoint. Is there one that you prefer, more excited about now that breeding's open? And if you are more into kind of racing, would you mind talking a little bit about your race selection, if you have any method to that?
I can go. I can go first. So I like the races for the stats, and so and I think I said it out loud that it's not the money. I mean, I'm not going to get rich racing. I mean, some do, but that's not me. So for me, the races are really for stats and really proof of theory. And for me, I think I'm more of a breeder. And from breeding, I think the opening of breeding opens up that whole complexity of the game. You start to see possibilities. You start to see different things coming into play. And I kind of look at it, and I said it in the article yesterday that when I look at how the different breeds are set up, you start with the genesis, and then you start mixing the genesis to create the legends, and there will be a few legends that will stand out, and from legends you get the exclusive lines which the stables will use to breed their elites. So I think from a evolution per se, the breeds will go through the different layers of breed evolution to get to the elites, and where you really compete competitively will be at the elite level. And it's not going to be a legendaries, it's not going to be maybe a little bit of exclusive, because that's where you kind of fine tuning the traits of that horse. So for over time, I think you'll start to see stables who are going to be able to say, these are guys that are going to be strong under 2400s, and these are the short sprinting stables. And then where you take that two elites or the two exclusive line and you start combining, you get the cross breeds that basically gives you mixed traits that are average, that can do like a little bit of both. So that's kind of how I see the game from a breeding per se. So my approach right now is really creating that pre-mixed formula. So I'm not into collecting all the genesis. I mean, the genesis are good, but after you mix the genesis into something that is actually workable, for me, that legendary or even the exclusive is going to be a lot more valuable because it's got the right mix and ratio. So I don't know. I mean, it contradicts a lot of the theories that the other breeders and the other stables have. But for me, I'm more of a legendary and as well as an exclusive guy. And I tend to think that that's where the future of the game is. And I think all stables will start to adopt that and start to create their own branding and differentiation along that line. Yep. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think so. Absolutely. I've been following. What about you, King Beaver?
I'm more about I like to prove a racer to breed it. But what I've found, I don't know if it's just because breeding first opened up or what, but like I have some winning horses in stud right now that they're good, like 100+ races. I've never, like, I might enter a free race every once in a while. For the most part, I just stick paid entry. And so when I'm doing research, I look at how many paid entry horses. If I find a stud and all he's done is free races, yeah, see you later. I don't care what the price is. I'm not really interested in that because I feel like those stats are flawed because they let any freaking horse run it. You know what I mean? A class 1, there can be 10 class 5s in it. Like, I think they should make free racing. Like, you have to be a class 1 to race a free race, in my opinion. But with that, I'm about proving a horse to make it valuable, either A, to sell it, or B, to breed it. What I'm finding is no one's willing to pay the money to breed with the winners. And I don't know if that's going to matter or not. And I hope it does. But I got Green Eyed Larry in there, who's like a 24% winner, usually 10 or less odds out of 100 races against the best of Zed. That's going up against Breathless Edge and Insane Him and Grandeur. And nobody wants to breed with him. I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to breed with him myself, I guess, which I'm not afraid to do, but I'm not going to, pay 1.5 Ethereum myself either.
See, we all want to breed with one Green-Eyed Larry. I just can't afford it.
Yeah, see. So, I mean, his price making, you might have to try to snipe him. I got a fast computer, so wait till all you fucks are in bed or something.
Don't try sniping now. I just when I was on the stream, I saw a Z1 that was on, and then I just clicked snipe, and it was like on for $80 or something.
Oh wow!
And then,
yeah, if you can get one on there, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then it came out, and there was an error message that popped out and said that an error had occurred. And then I look at the cover, it went down by 1. I checked my transaction, it's not there, and I'm going like, okay, I got to pull out the template of that template email to Hello Zed again. Like it's like I don't know, I just changed the name and stuff like that, and just send them in.
Well, I got Crusher in there. He's an exclusive. He's actually a son of Billions. He's the first exclusive to actually become a Class 1.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He's got, I want to say 14% win rate. I'm not 100%, but it's definitely over 100 races. But he's an exclusive, and I don't remember what I put him in there for. He might be 0.75 to breed with or 1, but he gets lost in there because the filters kind of suck.
Yeah.
No, but
And I think I wish they need to update the filters for breeding for show.
Yeah. And I think they need to let you put a little blurb on like why should you start with him, like and I think that would actually help, because breeding is not about just chasing that number. So right now, I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, as a player, and if I know nothing about all the history that gone into the game, and all the all the legendary names and so on and so forth, I go in, everything is a number to me. I look at it, the Z1 as a Z3, it's got like 10%, it's got 7%, it's got how many wins. Oh no, it's not run any race. So no, the next one, it's $70. Oh no, it's $130. I can do $130, and then so wham, that's it. So it's numbers. So you don't have history, you don't have stories, and that's what I think. That's what horse racing is all about. I mean, I chased down the grandson of Grandeur and the granddaughter of Billions, and just they are both crappy horses, and then I just felt that they should get married and have a baby. And that baby ran like 10 plus odds, 20 plus odds. It's a cross Butrine. It's not fantastic, but it's romantic.
I actually sold Grandeur to Poseidon for like $2,500, and that's sad.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right, man. I got a lot of other ones. It's cool. I'm like, you bastard. He even approached me for that sale too. It wasn't even like I was looking to sell him. He's like, hey, how much would you sell Grandeur for? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I made money, I mean, I tripled my money that I actually spent on Grandeur, but I was like, shit.
But I mean,
oh well.
Okay, so to kind of like lighten that blow, Grandeur is not making that much money anyway.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, maybe in starts, but on race he's not making that much money. So
well, poor Adam.
Yeah, so never mind.
Well, he kind of retired Grandeur a little bit as well.
I mean, he ran him like 1,000 times. I mean, damn. We've talked about like fatigue levels, and I would like to see Zed put in a fatigue. Like, I wish it was like race based. If you ran like 500 races, you can only race that horse like once a week or something. Because I race a lot of Class 1 and Class 2 because that's like, I wouldn't say that's all I got, but that's like pretty much what I have. And every time I'm in there, Strider, Insane Hem, or like, just the classic Z1s that just have tons of races. And they told me that back in the day, like, experience mattered. Now they told me the experience doesn't matter, but I still feel like it does. I don't like running a horse with 30 races against one that's ran 1,000 times. You know what I mean? If I see that, I won't enter amateur horse into that race. Green-Eyed Larry, sure. Yeah, I don't care. He'll go. But the other ones, I'm like, I'm going to wait.
I feel like that you reach kind of like a level, kind of almost to that point, like a level of maturity of like a horse after a certain amount of races.
Right.
And like I can't necessarily quantify that, but like as far as like a racing perspective, like to your point, when I'm looking to enter in, it's like, man, I see a ton of races and you're pulling, a 17% win rate. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit. Whereas if you have 5 races and, a 20% win rate, okay, like that's fine. Like
I would like to see a filter in the races where like, all right, Class 1, 0 to 100 races, 200 or, 100 to 500 or something. But racing against a horse that's gone 1,500 times. I'm like, man, who has the time? How do they guys sit there all day and do that? I'm like, I don't have that kind of time.
There's a rumor
that the most I've ran a horse is like 100 sometimes.
There is a rumor about people botting. We don't know how true it is, but that is a rumor of some of those horses.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
And they botted back when they were still doing the first 500 horses. I remember when when we first moved to Buterin from Finney. Like the bots were so bad because you could just cancel a transaction, or you could do it and it would change the horse. So people will set it up with the bots to like just try to find slate grays or try to find freaking stronghold ivories. And they would try to cycle the horses so fast it just crashed the website. It was brutal.
Wow.
So then that's why they changed the format of those drops, and so the drops have like changed over time. Before you just go to the website and like, oh, there's a horse for sale. All right, bye. You go to the marketplace at any time in like October of last year and you had your pick of freaking like Z5s or more.
Wow. That's crazy to think about today.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
It's not that long ago, but
yeah, up in February, they still have like a bunch of Buterins in the marketplace. I was watching one of Doofy's old videos.
Yep.
Wow.
I sold him his first horse. It was Chronic Gangster.
No
I
way.
sold a lot of
That's
horses
wild.
to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I got to have like a stable of like 250. I got like 27 or something.
Okay, I got a question from the chat. It says, when researching a bunch of horses, what is the first stat on the horse that you look at?
To buy or to race? Or
just researching. It doesn't say to buy. I'm assuming it's to buy.
The odds aren't everything, but I look at odds, and then from odds I go to entry fee. Did they pay to race? And then if they paid to race, like how are they doing? And then if they have really great odds, I'll actually select that race, like all on knowyourhorse.com. I'll select the race. Who's in that race? If there's some great horses in that race, I mean, and they got shitty odds, I mean, cut them a little slack. You know what I mean? But if they got great odds and it's just a bunch of, I've heard stories of people creating 12 stables, 11 donkeys, and then they're just pumping their one, right?
Oh.
And so, yeah, that makes sense. You see a horse that's got 20% win rate, you're like, whoa. So I go and research it. I'll look in the races and see who they ran against. That's what I do if I'm looking, and I determine whether the price is worth it or not.
Yeah. So I look at the price first, then the stats, because so I always go in with a budget in mind. And so, I mean, I'm breeding, so I make sure that I procure my materials with the right cost, because if I breed too expensive, I'm not be able to sell and it's worthless. And if there's a risk that's tagged to breeding as well. I mean, like if I were to pay half an ETH for stud, and the eventual is going to be a Z9 butyrine. I mean, you like half an ETH for Z9 butyrine. I don't think you want to pay that. So there is a little bit of the math for me. So once I work out that there's the selection of the horses that are in the right price range and in the price range that I think I can negotiate them to, then I will go look at the odds, and as well as the distance and entry fee, like what King Beaver is saying. But I do look at one more thing, because most of the horses, unless if they're Genesis, so I do buy a few Genesises, but unless they're Genesis, I will also look at the lineage and ancestry, and from there I look at where the genes come from and are they legit. So like you say, I mean, the parent could be just window dressed to look good, so you never know. So you kind of like do a bit more research and digging into that. I sometimes, and I think I said it just now, I sometimes buy horses that has 40 odds and they're just absolutely rubbish. I bought the two grandkids of Billions and Grandier. They're absolutely rubbish. I mean, I would never raise them. I would want anyone who wants to raise them. But they produce interesting kids. I mean, I have the grandson of Grandier who produced two other kids that they somehow wanted to buy for me, the twins, for like half an ETH or something. So there are value in the bloodline. So that's what I look for.
Are they Nakamoto's?
A mixed. So Nakamoto's, so you kind of want to understand what traits get carried down. And then I haven't proved this yet, but if you look at where the guides say where the Nakamoto's has a higher percentage of retaining the trait, and the Zybos has less, and there's also Finny and the Butrines are of course wow, and you can just have random stuff coming out. So you kind of want to understand like how much of it is retained and how much of them are not, or how much of it is turned on or turned off. So from there you kind of look at what activates them or what doesn't. So there's a little bit of trial and error, but you kind of want to look at it from a in a totality rather than just saying that, hey, you know what, this guy can run, so he can run. So I think I had a conversation with someone that says that, hey, you know, we put two big runners together, it doesn't necessarily produce a good racer. I'm like, yeah, maybe the genes just doesn't. I mean, just doesn't go. I mean, yeah, I mean, naturally, you put two athletes together, you produce a kid who's maybe more, you know, who's better at sports, but it doesn't mean that it's 100% guaranteed. I mean, look at Jeremy Lin. His parents are just not basketball players. I mean, he's okay. So there's that. I mean, so what happened? So that's what I'm actually after.
Okay. Me personally, when I'm looking at horses, I do the same, except I use Zed.Run tools because I like the. If I'm not buying a Genesis, which I don't, I only own one Genesis, but if I was to buy like a legendary or an exclusive, I take Zed.Run tools and I go up the trees, and then I look to see if like brothers or cousins or sisters or any siblings have produced winners, or if they are winners, because it might have just skipped them. Because I know when breeding between like the genotypes of Buterin Zabo or Finney and Nakamoto, sometimes it can skip a generation to produce a good runner.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of times it does. Sometimes it goes straight at that horse, but a lot of times the horse that's next down the line tends to be a better runner than the one when the genotypes were first crossed.
Absolutely. So I think you brought up a very good point there. There was a guy who was trying to sell me a horse to say that, you know, this horse is unraced and unbred, and that's why I'm selling you more money. I said that, you know what, why don't you go race and breed this horse first, and then I'm fine with buying it for less money, because I want the data, and I don't want to. I mean, if you're going to pay for the data and then I'm going to buy it as, you know, as a horse with data, I mean that is more value to me than a horse that's unran and unbred. So there is that. I mean, if you then, I love buying mares who have been bred many times, or in the case stallions that have got like many offspring, because from there we can actually isolate where the patterns are and what works and what doesn't. So
that actually happened to me.
Yeah,
I put in Blushing into stud, and I thought I put him in there for a decent price. I want to say it was like 0.5 Ethereum, and Blushing is. I mean, he's a rare coat color. Man, he bred out quick that day. Gone. But I've also bred Blushing a lot. I think he's got like 40 offspring. And you look at his tree, he's got a lot of winning horses in there. So maybe that has something to do with it. Or maybe I put him too low and I just don't give Blushing enough credit.
Yeah.
But I have found that horses do get streaky. Yeah. Like there's times where your horse might look like he's just dog shit. And then, man, he'll go 20 races where he'll win like 5 of them. You know, and your stats are up. And then you keep racing and boom, they're back down again. Boom, he gets back up. I mean, look at Billions. I looked at his stats the other day. I was like, oh, there you go. Finally. You know what I mean? He's got his stats up in the high teens. There for a while, he's racing them and everything and just getting his ass whooped. But now, you know, he looks the part, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think race selection and breeding's very interesting. I feel like it's such a wild, wild west right now.
Yeah, I look forward to like when the pro platform gets even bigger, and it's gonna be great. Someone actually bred a Z268 Nakamoto.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Wow.
I think the name
Isn't that crazy? Like he kept it in the Naka line all the way down.
Yeah, it's really persistent.
That's wild.
I think sometimes that horse is gonna pay off because they're gonna be like a Z268 race, and he's like, "I'm not Cody, bitch." You know?
I don't know, man. I mean, I would love to see 2 Z268 breed, and then it will still be a Z268 because that's the cap.
Yeah, but I bred a bunch because they actually did an event. I want to say it was in 2019 as well. It's called the Trailblazer, and if you come in dead last, you got $50. That's when I was saying the algorithm was like more lean towards genotype. So I bred. You can only race 3 races with 3 separate horses. So I bred 3 horses all the way down to Z268. And I came in dead last on 2 of them. I got paid. I actually did the math. I was like, I came out positive. Sweet.
$50. My God.
That's wild.
Air Ethereum was so much cheaper back then. I mean, you know what I mean? It was. I think it might have been $100. if that.
Yeah. So now I have a horse that I bought, Drop Dead Gorgeous. She is a Z8 and she is cheap to buy. I think she was like 0.18 or 0.17 for Genesis Putrine. Absolutely
That's good price.
donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got like 20, 30 over odds. The reason why I bought her is because she bred with two other Nakamoto's legendary, and they turn out decent runner. And when I say decent, I'm not talking about a single digit odd. They're like in the teens. You can still run and win some races. It's like if you play for the fun of it, you kind of want to buy a reasonable 10 odd horse to kind of,
for sure.
it's just for the fun. So I thought, for 0.18, I could actually, breed cheaply with an exclusive or maybe a legendary neck, and expect to turn out some horses in the teens. So it turned out, the first one, the daughter was decent, was good, but it was on the high teens. So I said, something's a bit off, but it's still consistent. Then the second time, I think it's because of the birthday reset, I bred again, and it came out a coat. So I actually sold that coat as a mystery egg and said, you know what, if you want, you can have it, but I can kind of guarantee that it's going to be a 10 odds. And then the guy was looking at me like, how do you even know this? I was like, I don't know. I mean, look at the other kids. I mean, there's a level of consistency. I can say it with high level confidence. And if it doesn't turn out that way, I'll take it back for half the money or whatever, after you play with it and whatever you do with it. So he ran it, and true enough, it's 10 odds. It's a 10 plus odds. I mean, it's not a super horse. It's a fun horse. So he was super happy. It was a new player, first horse for him, and I think that was good. So there is a pattern, and sometimes the pattern sits with the mare. Sometimes it sits with the stallion, I think. But I think there is a pattern in breeding, and in this case, we managed to replicate 4 out of 4 times. With a relatively high level consistency in the offspring.
I'm doing some very preliminary research in this, and I've shared some of this privately. But I was able to calculate a place rate of a horse within 1%, looking at lineage and performance of the parents. So it's very small, but it's something, and I don't want to necessarily go super public into this yet, because I want to flesh it out and make sure that can actually be applied across more horses before saying anything. But I really think there's something to that, Eric, and kind of what you were saying, and being able to say, hey, I can almost guarantee this is going to be about 10 odds, and here's why. And I think you really have to look at the comparisons of who it's breeding with, their performance, and then their offspring. So if A and B produce an offspring of offspring number 1, then A and C produce offspring number 2 on this side, but there's one shared parent. Looking at kind of all of those variables together, right now it's very time consuming and labor intensive, but I think there's something there. So it's interesting, it's fascinating. I love how new and Wild West breeding is at this time.
I do have a question. What do you guys do with donkeys, even though the game hasn't been fully fleshed out?
We put them into donkey tournaments. Like what team breed?
You can breed them with the winner, and what I found is when you breed them with the winner, someone will still buy it.
Yeah.
Like
when you breed them with a winner, what was that?
When you breed them with a winner, a lot of times people are willing to buy that offspring, even if the female ain't so hot.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm not afraid to do that. And sometimes people don't do their research. I mean, you find that guy who's done nothing but free races and has got like a 20% win rate, and it's only 0.3 to breed with the Z2 or whatever. Freaking go for it, because you're going to be able to sell that horse for probably 0.7-ish, 0.8. Especially if it's a female. I found the female offspring are way easier to sell than the males.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, everybody.
Not like I bred that many. I just know. So I have some for sale right now, but no one wants to pay the 1 Ethereum. I don't know. Everybody's afraid of 1 Ethereum for some reason. Damn.
It's such a big monumental number. It's like, oh yeah, 0.7 point.
I'm
right.
Look, I'm like, it's not that much more to go 1, and then I don't go through this hassle, bro. Like, she's a female. She's awesome. You're gonna make that money back in 3 months if you breed her with the right ones.
That's
in my opinion. You know what I'm
saying? Are there, just kind of a side question, and we'll circle back to Zed, but are there any other, we had talked a little bit, King BeaverShot, about believe it was F1. Are there any other NFT projects that either of you are excited about, involved with, or that you particularly like?
I like the sandbox.
I'm
Those
looking to get
guys
into
are
that
on
too.
it, man. It's pretty awesome to see what that space has become. F1 Delta Time I like a lot, but I'm kind of a gaming junkie. I actually like that you can race the car. Like you can control it some forward. You got
Oh wow.
a throttle, brake, and boost. But you have to know when to come off and on and in and out the corners. All the racetracks are F1 racetracks. You can actually own the racetracks. I actually own racetracks, and I earn a percentage of all the rev that they generate every month gets paid back to me. I'm like net positive rev like every month. Like I just watch my little account keep going up. But I did drop some money into it to be at the top too. I ain't gonna say that I'm just so awesome. Nah, I dropped some winning Zed money into that game. But sandbox game, I'm interested to see where it's going.
I'm
Those
very
are the
excited
three
for
that
that one
I'm
too.
into.
Awesome. What about you, Eric?
I'm a lot smaller time in that sense. So I think the biggest for me is into Zed.Run. So this is my biggest waste of money, biggest spend of money. Um,
It's not a
the
waste, man. You
other
can make
the other two project, I bought a couple of Arabian camels just because they look cool, and I don't know if it'll go anywhere. I mean, it's the vision and what they want to do with the money seems to be good. So I'm hoping that that they do something good with it. I don't necessarily think it matter if the floor of that goes of Arabian camel goes up. I mean, if we make a little bit of money, we make the money. So be it. The other one that I was into was Mike Alike. So that one is a very small artist, small time artist in Spain, Malaga, and he does some very interesting cartoons and stuff. So I think per piece is like 0.05, which is $100. So that's the money that I would pay someone to draw, just draw something for me anyway. So I thought, just and my kids love some of these cartoons, so we kind of bought a couple of NFT in that space. So he's got like 150 NFTs now. So if he becomes big, then okay, that's good. I mean, I got a few cool pieces like Superman, like Wonder Woman, and stuff like that. But if he doesn't, then at least I got someone to draw cartoons for me.
Nice. I'm really into the skins too that Zed's going to be coming out with.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't wait.
Yeah, I got 2 for Preakness and I got 2 Stellas.
Nice.
I
Are
dropped
they?
some money on that. I got that Z1 female for like 18 Ethereum or something. I was like, oh yes,
Ooh.
definitely below market. Thanks everybody.
Wasn't that under drop price though, or was that over drop?
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
Okay.
couldn't believe it. I was like, no way, I'm gonna get this. All right, thanks everybody.
That's insane.
I like how the
What-
horse's name is Chalice too, and I actually got that Chalice skin off the Z3.
That's
It's gonna be
cool.
dope.
wow,
That's awesome.
I might
That's
sell it as a
awesome.
that's
combo
awesome.
someday. Like you get the horse skin and the horse.
This is a question going into that. I forgot to ask the other day when Ebbs was on Doofy's stream, but they're not going to release any more of the skins, the Easter egg skins.
Easter egg
They
colors.
Yeah, like how Billions, and then I believe there's one other horse that are one of one for skins or
That
not
horse
skins but
ended up.
colors.
Yeah, I think the horse's name is the Fast Lane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it ended up being a 101 color.
No, hold on. I'll pull up OpenSea really fast because there's two
Okay.
two Z
Is there?
horses that are one of one skin, one of one colors. One's a Z, one's Billions, and the other is a Z1 Nakamoto mirror, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, man, if
I
I
have
ever
to-
get the
I have to
money,
know this
I'm
color.
buying this horse.
Oh, originally there was a chart out there that showed that there was going to be 99 Easter egg colors, but now there's way less, obviously, because they've released like 950 Z1s already or something.
Yeah, that's why I was saying there's not enough Z1s for them to actually do that anymore.
Right.
Unless,
Maybe they couldn't think of any more colors. Nah, I don't know.
all right, who knows? But can't run out of colors.
Yeah, like just
without
change the shade of blue slightly.
Yeah, I mean they've flirted. They said that you're gonna have track ownership.
Yes.
I've
You
heard
know,
that.
you're gonna have a Dez token coming out, and if you own Genesis, you're gonna be airdropped X amount of Dez depending on what Genesis you own and how many you have.
That's
I
gonna
want
be
to say it's like
wild.
30-some-ish Des per Z1. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I've heard. And then it just kind of tears down by halvesies after that. So if you own a Z2 Genesis, it'd be like 16 Des.
Yes. The other horse is named Brainy Tear. She's a 1 of 1 Genesis, and her color is oval orchid.
I think that's a common color.
That's a common color, pretty sure.
Well, it says it's 1 of 1 on
Wow, they haven't released any other oval orchid horses?
No way.
I know there's oval orchid Z2s and 3s and stuff. There's got it.
Yeah.
I think I even have one.
So, for those of you that maybe don't know, myself included, what is the utility around that Des token?
Yeah, there are more oval orchids. Sorry.
From what I understand about the Des token, the utility, they were going to use it for the third-party gambling.
Gotcha.
I think some races were going to be just Des only. It's going to be a gaming token, a lot like how Sand is for Sandbox. You know what I mean? Or like Rev is for, like how Rev is for F1 Delta Time or Motorsport GP. There's going to be an in-gaming token. I don't know whether you could use the Des to buy new skins with or Marketplace. I have no idea, but that was the idea. That shit was supposed to launch like back in like February, but all the craziness happened and it got on the back burner along with the Atari horses.
Yeah, I can't wait for those Atari horses and just to see that partnership develop further. I think there's like that IP alone mixed with Zed and Sandbox.
Yeah, it's 2 males per genotype, and they're going to put them in the stud market for 24 hours. And then once the stud market ended, they were going to go on auction on OpenSea.
Wow.
Oh.
But I don't know about that anymore because that was supposed to happen back, like I said, back in February and stuff, and it never went down. The Atari skins look pretty cool, and the horses were named after old school Atari games, like Centipede and Asteroid and all that shit.
Combat.
Yeah.
I grew up playing her. You.
I'm big on Atari tokens because too they're getting big in the NFT space for gaming. They partnered up with Decentraland. They're gonna build a casino in there.
That's wild. Absolutely wild. What for both of you? What would you say? I mean, you both kind of approach Zed.Run from just kind of different experiences, different mindsets, different times, different stages in the game. What would you say has been like your most emotional Zed-related moment? I have an idea of what yours might be, King BeaverShot, but
I was actually buying Billions.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah, because I had talked to my wife is like my partner, right? So like I told her, I was like, they just dropped the price on all these horses because like Sarah Connor was in there, like I'm trying to remember the other horses that were in there, but they dropped the prices on all of them because they had like a Dutch style auction, where they just reduced the price at a certain point, but they wanted like 30 Ethereum for Billions if I remember right, something like that, and they dropped it to 4, and I was like, because I remember there was a link on Twitter to like a direct link to Billions. I'm like, I'm gonna look. I'm like, holy crap, it's only 4. I'm like, I just gotten furloughed too, 2020-ish. I'm like, we should buy this horse. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. So I talk to her. She's like, well, it's my horse then. I'm like, I don't care. So I bought him. I couldn't get the transaction to go through. It kept failing. I'm like, what the freak is going on, man? So I'm like, screw it, because I was trying to speed up the transaction, right? So he's mine, got it. But every time I did, it would fail. I'm like, oh shit. If Bob sees this, he's buying it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I put it in, just let it go. We go for a walk, come back. Transaction went through. I got Billions. I beat Bob by 15 minutes was all.
Wow.
I'm like, you already got enough Z1s, man. Spread some money. That was probably the best for me. And when I sold them, happiest is like owning a boat.
And for those of our viewers who maybe aren't familiar, what exactly was that price tag? That Billions sold for?
$125,000, which it ended up being 73.4 Ethereum.
Wow.
And my wife had to approve the sale. Still,
did she want to sell it, or was she like, yeah?
She's like, nah, 125. Damn, because I had the guy up to like 115 or something. And I ended up finding out it's a venture club, the freaking EDM group. I'm like, I listen to their music all the time. That's awesome.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. I did not know they were the buyers. That's wild.
Yeah, I think they have someone else manage their stable for them, but yeah, that's like who bought them, according to Jay.
Because they're based out of Australia, I think, right?
I thought they were Canadian.
Oh, I could be totally wrong. Could be totally wrong.
I don't know either.
Very cool. Very cool. What about you, Eric?
I think it's buying my first horse and having to give it up.
Oh, did you sell your first horse?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So no, so it's a very interesting story. So I got my first horse, and the horse name is One Big Surprise, and it was one big surprise. So when you first buy a horse, for me coming into the game, it's like you go look for the cheapest one, and you look for the one that you like the color the most. I mean, everything else doesn't matter. You don't know your horse, and you don't know anything. So you just go in. Oh, they say open sea. Okay, let's go to open sea. Oh, this one looks cute. It's got a nice color. I like the white color, and so bought it. I think I got it for like 0.17 or 0.18. Race it a few times. Doesn't run very well. Sometimes it wins and stuff. So then someone told me, hey, you know what? You got to look at know your horses, and you kind of like need to go research and like do this and check the odds, check the distance, and so this was like week 1. So I went there, and then lo and behold, there was this very scary tag underneath the horse name, and it says something like "stolen horse. Please contact know your horse."
I had that happen.
And then I'm like, oh shit! Like, what did I do this time? Like, it's my first horse. Please don't take it away. I like it, but I did not commit a crime. So I pinged the guys away at Know Your Horses, and then they were like, oh, this was one of Jeeves, and they're like, okay, I don't know who Jeeves is, but anyway, gave me the Discord, and I pinged him, and he, I explained to him like I really bought the horse, just really, I didn't know anything about it. Apologized that it was a stolen horse. I didn't know, and then he was a cool guy. He went like, I'm just gonna give you some money for it, and he checked like how much I paid for it, and he said I'm gonna give you a little bit of extra to cover the cost and whatever. So yeah, he we made the deal, and then I had to give it up. So for me, that was like it wasn't a fantastic horse, but it was a horse that got me started. It was emotional having to give it back, but I took the money and bought something else. But it's just that it's that moment where you kind of like would remember for life, and it's that it's also the vulnerability of new players, of players coming in and having to navigate the whole thing. That's how it got me started to look at articles and everything.
Nice.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, I've got one. Golden, do you add anything? Otherwise, I'll hit my last question.
I'll just say my most exciting moment was also tragic. It was last weekend when we all thought we won horses.
Ah, yeah,
if you remember,
bad.
me and you were going back and forth. Like, you won one, I won one. Yes,
we thought it was the coolest thing ever.
And then everybody was like, yes. Like, then we're like, hold on, we couldn't have all won a horse.
I created a second stable, like after they announced the drop, and then just really to like organize the horses for breeding and everything. And then the second stable has won a horse as well. I went like, oh, wow, how cool is this? Like, thank you. Yes.
And then I told people I felt like a kid who, like, his parents are divorced and his dad promises to pick him up, and then he just doesn't show up. That's what that was like the letdown I felt.
Oh.
But mistakes happen. It happens. I don't know how that particular one happens, but they happen, and I felt like they apologized, and they're gonna try to make sure that doesn't happen again in the future. But let me ask a question to you guys really fast. And it's kind of sort of related. On the recent missteps from Zed, how do you feel, or do you still feel confident in the Zed team to execute the vision going forward?
Oh yeah, I did. I've seen some bad ones. You know what I mean? There's been some major hiccups before, but it gets worked out. Don't overreact. They'll hash it out. These guys are legit. They have a vision, and they're not going to stop until, you see Zed.Run like racing in Vegas where you can go make a bet. That's how I feel like these guys are going to push it that far.
Yeah.
they've grown a lot. Like when I first joined, there was like 5 dudes.
Wow.
You know, it was like Chris, Jeff, Rob, Miguel. I don't even know if Ebbs was there. Rod wasn't even there yet, or Jay. None of those guys. So I mean, they got to grow. They're doing good. They hired the guy from Disney. You know, they're gonna get it done. Just be patient. Don't do the typical crypto thing like, oh, nothing's happened in 6 months. I got to move my money somewhere else. You know, just wait. You'll be
No,
all
you
right.
can move the money somewhere. Just give me a call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm confident of the team. I mean, I don't just look at the team as the team. I look at the ecosystem. I look at the platform. I look at the potential. So I mean, I've seen startups and as well as I've seen startup change hands. I've seen startup grow and basically and get a boost from somewhere and just they basically take off. So I think the few things that I can say for sure is Zed for now is still one of a kind. It has a very, very, very impressive ecosystem. It has an economy that basically has got legit transaction. We're not talking about the other NFT projects that's got like millions of transaction and a lot of grinding and stuff. We've got legit interest in racing, in breeding. You can do stuff, you can do real-life stuff, and then you have community. You have people wanting to talk, wanting to share. You've got people wanting to exploit, wanting to take advantage of folks. You've got all sorts of people in here. It's just like the real world. So I mean that's not going to go away. I mean it's like even if it doesn't change, it doesn't improve, it doesn't do anything to the platform. The community is just still here going to play the game and such. So I think it can only get better. Um, we needed and Genesis horses to be all dropped, and I think
Yes, I
or
agree with that.
maybe yeah, just get the ecosystem going. We need breeding to be fixed. We need races to be fixed, and so those incremental steps is just going to open the game up further. The more the game opens, the more player will come in. The easier the player comes in, the more money is going to come into the system, and it's economy. So everyone is just going to. I'm not saying everyone will get rich, but you can only feel the rich or the wealth only when money changes hand. Just like I think King BeaverShot, when you have like all those horses, I think you know you're rich, but you don't feel rich because nobody's giving you money for your horses.
Yeah, I'm not rich,
But
bro.
yeah, but you kind of like when you change hand, you can say, "Oh, I actually make money from this. Like this
Oh
this thing
yeah,
is real." So
yeah,
you kind of need that exchange to take place, just like breeding. Like the small stable owner suddenly become like, I can make money because well, I bred some horses, I sold some horses, and the money changing hands. And when the guy who bought the horse and says, you know what, I don't want this, I'm going to flip it. This money changing hands. So that is the feeling that we're looking for, and
yeah.
that's what make the platform successful. I think last point is that we are very, 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 very early in this stage. I think it's still in beta. I want to reinforce the point that we are in beta. The game is by no means finished. So I can only imagine that when it's finished, when it's a finished product, it's just going to be super awesome. It's awesome now. So I'm all confident with that. I think the team needs to beef up. I think there are gaps. I mean, obviously, I mean we saw the gaps. I mean, let's not be overly critical. We can be critical with them, like say, hey guys, we put money into this. We expect it to be good, and I think they heard us. So, and I'm just gonna take a step back, give them all the support they need, give them all the encouragement, and also be their partner in this because I think all the early players, and we are all early players here. I think we are partners to Zed rather than just players on Zed. So that's what I believe, and I think the game, the platform is just going to be phenomenal. Mhm.
Right.
100% agree. They're very upfront and open that this is beta, and I feel like a lot of the anger and upset that's come from it is when people lose sight of that understanding.
Yeah,
And it's great and when things go smoothly, and 90% of the time they do go smoothly, and I think that's also kind of amplifies it a little bit because they're so used to things just flying through, and then all of a sudden when these hiccups happen, which are bound to happen in any platform, whether NFT or not, it can get frustrating. But I think we just kind of keep our eyes on the future and where things are going to go, and um, really excited for the future and have all the confidence in the team.
Yeah, any
absolutely.
NFT drop I've been a part of, especially pre-sale stuff, it's always a shit show.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know, it really is.
It's
Like, I remember
true.
when I bought my first sand property. I only have 2 sand properties. I got one near Zed in the premium. I got lucky and got one of those. I happened to get
Nice.
on and be like, you know what? I'm going to check out a Sandbox. I haven't checked in a while. I'm like, what,
Yeah.
pre-sale? What, Zed's a partner? Cool. Boom. I just happened to get on like 15 minutes before it went.
Oh man.
But my first land sale was worse. Like, it was a total nightmare. It was like trying to buy tickets to a concert that you're never going to get. I ended up getting one because I just blindly selected one and said buy. It was crazy, and the second time was way better. So people, and also people don't understand like the partnerships Zed has with Unicorn.com. I don't know if they don't really talk about that very much, but Unicorn bought 200 Z10s. I want to say like a year ago, like a while ago, and it's a game. It's a website where you can bet on yourself when you're playing games like Warzone, Fortnite, games like that. But the reason they partnered with them is to get the licensing to get into the casinos and the gaming, the whole gaming system with the odds and all that stuff, and get third-party betting going. And
Yeah.
you know, that's like way on the back burner. People don't even realize like they're partnering with a pretty big company called Unicorn.com.
Wow.
I had no idea. I'll have to check that out. Thank you for sharing that. That was a little fun
Yeah,
fact.
I think it's in the community like .znet whatever.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Like early, like I want to say it was like a year ago, but they bought like 200 Z10s for
Wow.
like 0.19 Ethereum a piece, something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Does anybody in the chat have any questions for King BeaverShot or Eric Wong? And while we're waiting for the chat to ask questions, King BeaverShot, I'm just gonna plug your Phantom Facts and put it in the chat as well. He has
Thanks, buddy.
a podcast on Spotify and its own website.
Yeah, it's with an F because my Jamal, he was homeschooled or something. I don't know why he spelled it with an F because it's like a fan bud. I'm like, no, whatever. But speaking of that Zed drop, I actually got one of those horses, and I think because there wasn't that many stables of my size in it, so I actually had a better odds of getting a horse because there was not that many 21 plus stables going for a horse. And I was just going mostly to like look at prices. So I actually got one of the $1 million drop horses. I'm going to be giving it away on phantomfacts.com.
Nice. Awesome. Very cool.
I haven't actually announced that yet. I told my buddies about it in our Phantom chat, but that's something we're going to do.
Heard it here first.
I'm like, I'm not that I don't need a Z10, but you know what I mean? I you know, that drop was for everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can always use a Z10, but I think that horse is much better in a new stable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that's the plan there.
Hey, Lacey had a question for you too. What's your favorite horses you've bred this cycle and why?
I named one. I think I sold it, but I bred it as sipping on some scissor. I couldn't believe that name wasn't taken. I really couldn't. She was a female too. As a Z3. So congratulations on whoever bought her. But yeah, that name was awesome. I was like, yes. I almost didn't want to sell her because I was like, oh, that's what a great name. Had was on there that night.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric?
I can't beat that name, but I got a whole bunch of horses named after places in Singapore. I've got like Sentosa, Marina Bay Sands. I've got Gardens by the Bay. So I think it's just really I want to do something that puts the country on the on the platform and I think put the country out in the world. I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more we can do in that and making the game more inclusive. So, and I've always been very open to just sharing where I come from. I come from Singapore. I'm Chinese and just really wanting the representation as well. I think I want to be able to like bring more players in. So that's me.
Nice. Love that.
And you, MJ?
Oh, geez. Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
What's your favorite horse you bred this breeding cycle and why?
It's the Red Dragon. Um,
I knew it.
and so it's I love Hate the Horse. So it's I bred it with my two Genesis, Wins by the Moment, my very first horse, and Super Chic, and um, it's yeah, it's red. The color's fire opal, so fire dragon, and that was my nickname for my very first car, a
Oh, nice.
2001 Ford Focus, bright red. With the red dragon. So I was like, this will be fun, and it's pulling consistently sub 10 odds paid, like eights nines, but I can't win.
Oh, dude,
So
I have a horse like that. His name's Air Jordan.
yeah.
He pulls great odds and just get his ass beat like a lot. I mean, he wins too, but he's I have that's nothing more frustrating when you get a horse like that. But I think
Yeah.
eventually they're gonna come out of it.
Yeah, that's I've only got like 22 races in, so it's early. We're getting to know each other. We'll get there. We'll come through.
Yeah.
Lacey did answer for you. She said she was expecting some Breathless Edge Billions or RP offspring instead of sipping on sipping. I do have a question because I'm me and MJ were inspired in part by the Pony Plugs and Sean versus All. Do you watch any of their streams?
I do. I jump on Pony Plug every once in a while
Okay.
Nice.
if I get
nice.
time. If I get time.
They're really good streams. If people in the chat haven't watched them, if you look at recommended channels, I have Pony Plug, Sean versus All, and Zombie Racing. If you don't know a lot about Zed, these people, they're really good people, and they inform you on things that you may not know because there's a lot of people out there trying to just steal your money.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you're not paying, if you don't know, the community for the most part is a very good community. It's very friendly, and they will. If you ask questions, people will give you answers, but make sure it's actually in the Discord chat. If you're in Discord, if somebody sends you a message out the blue, 9 times out of 10 they're trying to scam you. I'm just gonna let you know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
Yes. Erica, do you have any other things you're doing besides your Medium articles?
No, I think it's just on Medium and as well as in Discord. I'm talking to one of the big and very quiet and dormant, I think one of the big quiet stable right now on working on a project on how we can actually bring newcomers and new players in. So I might have a bit more resources to play with, but for now it will just be Medium and as well as Discord. I realize I don't look that good to go on stream, so I'm not gonna do what MJ is doing.
You're doing great. You're doing
man.
great.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, you're doing good.
Yeah, that reminds me, Bob the Nailer back in the day. I mean, I like to help out new people too, but I mean, he would give them horses. He'd be like, "Here you go. Here, take the C7 and go race with it."
Oh
I'm
wow.
like, damn, Bob.
Wow.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Very very
Yeah.
cool.
That's great.
All right. Well, I've got one last question. So a lot of famous athletes have routines when they get into things. You might have like a free kick routine for soccer or a free throw routine in basketball. Do either of you have any routines or superstitions when it comes to Zed.Run?
I'm boring that way, man. I'm not superstitious.
Pick a gate,
Yeah.
anything like that.
Oh, okay. All right. I prefer like gate 11 and 9. I don't know why I like
Okay.
those gates.
Okay.
Yeah. I clear my browser cache before I do anything that's important, and every time I don't do it, my transaction gets stuck. And so if Zad is listening, I got 2 mares stuck in mare prison right now. I really want them back, so I forgot to clear my cache. I'm sorry.
What about you, Golden?
I don't necessarily have any superstitions. I just I try to get in races because right now it's like if you're not first, you're not in. That's what it
some of
feels
those
like.
races feel crazy fast.
Yeah. That's a. But no, I try to go for gate 12. You gave up an interesting article about the least chosen gates. I think it was 12, 10, and 8.
12, 11,
And
and 1.
12, 11,
11.
and 1. You're more than likely to get in a race if you choose those gates.
And that night was wild. I was so frustrated trying to get in races, so I was just like, okay, let's take a bunch of API data, look at it. Oh, this seems kind of weird. Like pretty even distribution. And so I threw it out on Twitter, and then all of a sudden, within minutes, I have people messaging me, "Thank you, I'm able to get in races now." And it's like, whoa, no way! It was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, I have a
Well,
horse that likes lane 1.
There you go, even
Granger,
better.
he used to run lane 1 all the time.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah, for me personally, for my horse wins by the moment, it's gate 3 always. I don't know why, just gate 3
Yeah.
always.
Hey Eric, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you looked into like probability of lanes winning, no matter what the horse is? Like I've always like, sometimes I would look through the results and say, what lanes are winning? What lanes are winning? Is there like there's a gate
Yeah.
that wins more than other ones?
So
You know?
early on, yes, I did, but it was just really to piss around. And I think the dev confirmed that the gates doesn't matter. I even look at the events. So I had one article that talked about the North Hemisphere and the South Hemisphere, and that kind of correlates well. But they kind of came back and said, that doesn't matter too. So it's probably coincidental. But yeah,
I did some research about 10,000 races and found that there was no difference in gate.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So, but they want to do it soon, sometime. So, I think that'll
be
just
interesting. That'll be hard, man.
right.
But maybe you have a chance to beat one of the greats because he picked the wrong gate. You know what I mean? Like, hey, got that win. Take a screenshot of it, send it to him in an email or something.
Yeah, I'd be fascinated to see, like, yeah, if you get that like perfectly aligned race where it's like your ideal when they come out with it, weather, gate, distance,
Yeah.
like all in one. Like, how much of a boost will that actually, and like no fatigue, how much of a boost will that actually give you?
Yeah, how many races are you gonna have to run before you figure it out?
You-
Oh, right.
MJ, just now we talked about like bots and everything.
Mhm.
So actually, to make it easy for players, I think there should be a built-in like race manager feature into the platform that you can just send instructions that I want this horse put into this distance, and for odds for entry fees that's between this range, and I want it to be in this gate, and then they will actually queue and actually auto enter race for you. So I think it takes a lot away the load from having to kind of like compete for the same block and then put in. And I think just from an efficiency per se, it's just going to be a lot more seamless. So you
Yeah.
put one layer on top, but it takes away that load from the system.
Yeah, and I would like to see every distance available all the time.
Yes.
For every class from 1,000 to 2,600.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go. I mean, how many times am I going to go class 1 and the only ones available are 2,000 meter races? I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I already got Larry in 3 of them. No one wants to race him. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
I need 1,200 meter for blushing. He likes it short.
I did have a thing that I did want to say is an expanded class system. Everybody wants expanded classes, and I thought of like a solution because it seems like we're looking at these U-shaped runners,
Yeah.
and a lot of times they're running in like class 3 or class 2 or class 1, and they're class 5 horses, and they're not actually winning down there. They're actually doing really bad, and that's allowing them to stay in class 5. And so I know you can't race down, but I'm almost at the point where I don't think you should be able to race up either.
Yeah,
So that you get out
I
my
flirted
class.
that idea. Yeah, one up. You want to race one class up? All right, cool.
All right.
But after that, it's like, oh man, damn it, you're messing up my stats, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want a class 5 in here. You're messing up my odds line. Stuff like that.
But some of them are still getting like single-digit odds in class 1 against the best fields.
Yeah, I got suckered into by one of those horses once. I'll never do it again. Ugh, this horse sucks.
No, but I think that should be
15% of the
fixed.
time and nothing.
Yeah, I think that should be fixed when you want to sell this to the casino, right? I mean, you cannot have like horses in random races and.
Yeah. I think they're just fine tuning their odds. Like, I think that's part of the deal with why they haven't come out with third-party racing yet. I mean, they got to prove that it's fair and that the odds system is actually accurate and fair before someone's going to let someone start bet real money on it,
Yeah.
So,
It could be a big problem.
got a lot more data.
Yep.
Well, shit, guys. It was good talking to y'all.
Yeah.
Great talking to you as well. If you want to come back on the show, we're gonna try to do it weekly. But if you want to come back on the show anytime, just contact me. You know my name and everything. So
Right on, man.
Absolutely, go.
Yeah, appreciate you both. Thank you so much for your time. This was a lot of fun. Definitely learned a lot, and really cool to hear your different stories.
Right on.
Thanks for having us on, and look forward to coming back. And it's been an honor being with the legend King. And and then with I think like-minded folks on this stream. So absolutely happy to be here.
Right on.
Very cool.
Appreciate you.
All right, everyone. We'll have a great night, and we'll chat soon. Thank you for coming on.
we'll chat soon. We will try to do it every Sunday. Every Sunday, we haven't worked out a specific time, but it'll more likely be around the nighttime. So just tune in. We're just going once a week. As I said, MJ Stables, he streams almost daily at night, and King BeaverShot has his podcast. I just linked it in the chat again. Eric Wong has a detailed articles on Medium, and they're highly detailed and they're great. And then Pony Plug streams Wednesday and Friday. Sean versus All streams also Wednesday and Friday most of the time. So like he just moved to Vegas, so it'll be up in the air. So I suggest you guys follow those guys, and people on YouTube will probably be Poseidon and Doofy, who's also on the Pony Plug most of the time. But other than that, we're gonna sign out, and everybody have a great night.
Right on.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye.
See you guys.
Hi, fellas. I'm Eddie.
All righty.
Bye, boys.